Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Fred. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, MP3 player. That's audibletrial.com/Fred. But for now, enjoy the show. Welcome, guys. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is so cool. I'm so glad to have you guys. Hey, I have a few questions for you. Do you aspire to a creative life? Are you tired of working 9 to 5? Are you asking yourself, what is the point of it all? Do you want to take your creativity to the next level? Welcome to the Creative Magic Unchained. This podcast is about unleashing your creativity. We talk to experts. We step into the unknown. It is an inspirational podcast. It is a magical podcast. It is an intuitive podcast as we chat with enigmatic, charismatic people, artists, business people from around the globe. Musicians, singers, radio hosts, photographers, everything in between. This the tower of power. Too sweet to be sour. Funky like a monkey in this place. Sky is the limit and space is the place. I am Frederick Bai and I am doing the thing behind the microphone and I love it. I'm your host. I'm a businessman. I'm a blog reader. I'm a writer. I'm a I don't know. I'm everything in between. I'm an artist. I'm an animal lover. I'm a partner. And this podcast is free, FREE, every time you download it on iTunes or Stitcher. So please go over there and subscribe. It is listener supported. So tell a friend, if you have something to share, if you can share this with a friend, you think this can help a friend, share it. We're in a sharing world. This is a sharing community. The creatives community is we all help each other out. Also, you can leave a review on iTunes. That really, really helps. That's the best way right now you can help this podcast is just leave a review. In iTunes or Stitcher, just type in Creative Magic Unchained. And that's basically it, brothers and sisters. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to do right now. You're going to join the creatives community. And why would you don't join this community? Why would you do that? I'm going to tell you why. Because you're going to receive a free audio conversation with a good friend of mine, a fellow of mine, and an author. His name is J.F. Dubois. And the reason I want to give you this free audio is because this conversation we had represents everything that this brand is about. And I know it will inspire you to reach higher. J.F. Dubois went from being a designer to being an author. He just published his second book. He just had it, a new podcast. He's doing it, people. He is doing it, and I know you will be inspired by it. The title of the show, the title of the episode of the audio is "Live Your Passion," and this is what we're all about. In this place, it's all about living our passion. It's not about just following the protocol. It's not about just, doing something because mommy and daddy told us it was the right thing to do and you should have a good, secure job, that will sustain you for the rest of your entire lives and blah, 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 blah. No, this is about fulfillment. This show is about fulfillment and you guys are doing it right now. You're taking the first steps by listening to this show. So go now to frederickbai.com. Frederick with a C, Bai like bye-bye.com. The pop-up will appear. You enter your email. Everything is set. Everything is free. And you are in business. All right. As many of you guys know, I always like to start off with something funny because I'm a funny guy, aren't I? I'm a freaking funny guy. It goes like this. As the crowded elevator descended, Mrs. Simpson became too furious with her husband, who was delighted to be pressed against a gorgeous blonde. As the elevator stopped At the main floor, the blonde suddenly whirled, slapped Mr. Simpson, and said, "That will teach you to pinch." Bewildered, Mr. Simpson was halfway to the parking lot with his wife when he choked. I didn't pinch that girl." "Of course you didn't," said his wife, consolingly. "I did." All right, guys. Alrighty. Let's get it on. Hey, I always like to browse through, cool articles that will, inspire you guys. I'm all about inspiring you guys to move forward and go. Just freaking start doing what you want to do now. No matter how small it is, just freaking do it. And today I found this article on wikihow.com. That's wikihow.com, and the title is "How to Handle Jealousy." Oh yeah, how to handle jealousy. As soon as I saw the title, I was like, I gotta read that. And it starts like this. Jealousy can ruin your peace and end relationship. It can also be a signal to you that it's time to make a change. Rather than letting jealousy infect your relationship with others, use its appearance as a reason to better understand yourself. If you're having to deal with the jealousy of others, draw clear boundaries and protect yourself. Let's start off with the first one. Handling your own jealousy. There are different types of jealousies, right, people? Well, and oftentimes our own is the most subtle one, and many of us, especially guys, we're so like prideful. I don't know. We have this kind of pride. "Oh, I'm not jealous. Yeah, we are jealous. Just like women, just express it. Okay. All right. The number one way to deal with our own jealousy is understand the emotion of jealousy. Jealousy is a complex emotion that can include many others: fear, loss, anger, envy, sorrow, betrayal, inadequacy, and humiliation. If you are feeling jealous, understand that there are many other emotions that can occur with jealousy, but jealousy might be the emotion you notice first. Spend time thinking through your emotions. Write how you feel. If you are a visual person, make a chart or a drawing that represents all the different emotions you feel and their connection to jealousy. Notice the way your body is registering your emotions. Fear sometimes feel like a dropping or clutching sensation in your chest and stomach, while anger often manifests itself as a burning, tight sensation in your head and arms. Number 2, the second way to handle your own jealousy is to tackle your feelings. Learn to question your jealousy every time that it emerges. For example, say to yourself, "Is this jealousy because I feel afraid or angry? What am I feeling fear and why am I feeling fear or anger here?" When you begin to question what makes you jealous in the moment, you can begin to take positive steps to manage the feelings constructively without the cloud of negative emotion that typically accompanies jealousy. 3, get the root of your jealousy. It can be hard to admit that you are having negative feelings, and it might be tempting to blame them or another. Avoid this by taking a compassionate look at your own jealousy. Look at all the emotions you feel within your jealousy and think about a cause for each of them. For instance, if you feel jealous of your partner's friend or someone else's success, by the way, think of all the ways those emotions might fit in a sentence. You might feel fear because you don't want to lose your partner, and perhaps you have lost a partner in the past. Sorrow at the thought of the loss, a sense of betrayal because you feel your partner owes you full attention, and a sense of inadequacy because you are not sure you are worthy of love. Write down memories that have aggravated these feelings. For instance, you may feel fear at losing your partner because your last breakup was really painful and you are frightened of going through a similar experience. You may feel unworthy of love because you had a neglectful parent. And number four, the way to choose to handle your own jealousy is to choose to believe. Trust the people you love. Choose trust over distrust. Oh, is that a big thing, people? It's so important to choose trust over distrust. And anyways, that was an enlightening thing for me. Unless you have had evidence that someone lies to you, trust. Do not go snooping for evidence, but take your loved one at his or her word. Jealousy can hurt your relationship only if you bury it and blame your feelings on others. 5, the fifth way to handle your own jealousy is to apologize and explain. Say something like, I'm sorry for bothering you about your friendship with Jay. It's not that I don't trust you. I was just feeling insecure. Thanks for listening to me. This will often be sufficient to give both of you the space to discuss what has just taken place, recognition of your insecurities, and the need to be more open together about what you are going through. Number 6, open up about your jealousy. Sharing your true feelings with your friends or partner can help you build a stronger relationship. It will also empower him or her to point out when you make unreasonable jealous demands. Though it can be vulnerable to admit to feelings of jealousy, a relationship built on honesty is going to be stronger than one built on subterfuge. You have a few tools here, towards that, the 6th point. Avoid passing on blame to the other person. He or she did not cause your feelings, and you alone are responsible for your behavior. Stick to the I statement. That's a big one. That's really a big one. Rather than saying anything that smacks you of, you make me feel, instead of saying, you shouldn't have done that, say, I feel terrible when we're in a public space and I cannot communicate how I feel to you. Be aware that how you perceive situations may be completely at odds with how the other person saw them. Commit to listening when your partner speaks, even if you disagree. All right, 7, get help. If you have physically harmed, yelled at, berated, or stalked your partner, separate yourself from them immediately and get professional help. Ask your doctor for a referral to see a therapist or take an anger management class. Yeah, I think many of us need that, to be honest. A therapist. Therapists have a lot of responsibility and job. I can tell you this. All right. Hey, how do you handle other people's jealousy? Yeah, that's interesting. Handle another person's jealousy. Well, on WikiHow, that's what they say. Number 1, learn the difference between love and jealousy. Jealousy is not love, and feeling jealousy does not mean that you are in love. Some people mistake jealousy as an act of love, when it's really an act of insecurity and or a lack of control. People who get jealous tend to be insecure and to have feelings of shame as well. Number 2, draw boundaries with a jealous partner or friend. If your partner is acting out due to jealousy, draw lines. Do not answer questions you are not comfortable answering. Do not cancel plans with your friends or cut off contact with someone who matters to you. Gently and firmly explain, I will answer your questions, but only once. I will not give you the same answer over and over. Why is it so hard for many of us to just put our boundaries? It's weird. Anyway, also what you can do is, you can say, I will listen to how you feel, but I will not isolate myself from the people I love. Another thing you can say is, if you throw things or yell, I will leave the house and spend the night at my parents' house. Finally, if you do not tell me how you feel, but you sulk or give me the silent treatment, I will tell you how that makes me feel, and then I will leave the house until you call me. Oh, the silent treatment. Everybody it's terrible. The silent treatment, I hate it. All you girls out there, I hate the silent treatment. And guys, I don't know if guys do it as often, but geez, man, the silent treatment is just, it doesn't fix anything. Let's put it that way. Number 3, to handle another person's jealousy, don't accept abuse. Do not assume responsibility for things you did not do. It may be easier to apologize or blame yourself when you are blamed for another's behavior. However, you know your own motivations. Don't let anyone convince you into believing that you were flirting when you were not flirting, or that you provoked jealousy and subsequent bad behavior. Listen calmly to your partner if he or she can use I statements, but do not subject yourself to a barrage of accusation. Another thing you can do is number 4, get help. Get help. If you feel in any way threatened by your partner or another person who is jealous of you, get away from them if you can. Jealousy is the leading cause of spousal murders and is a typical component of spousal battery. So get out of the house if your partner is physically aggressive, or call 911, or a domestic abuse hotline. And finally, handling childhood sibling rivalry. Oh, those are the worst, aren't they? Jeez, when you hate your brother and your sister, and you don't hate them, but there's a rivalry. So, number 1 you can do to handle childhood sibling rivalry is encourage their individuality. Jealousy between siblings is inevitable, as they will have conflicting needs and a natural worry about being treated unfairly. Explain to them that their needs are different and that not everything can be equal, because their strong needs will appear at different times and need different treatment. Number 2, make schedules. If your children often fight over whose turn it is to use family-owned items such as a laptop or game, make a schedule showing when each child can claim it. Similarly, if your children demonstrate jealousy of your attention, make one-on-one dates with each of them in which you participate in an activity of their choice. Number 3, teach your children to be assertive. Teach your children to state their own emotions in a straightforward, assertive way, rather than acting out or blaming others for how they feel. And you know what? The reason why I speak to you, I tell you this, guys, because families ought to be the quote-unquote manager of family is kind of the quote-unquote manager of a business, or the manager of, if you have employees, if you have people that any type of management, you have to make sure that each individual feels worthy, feels like they count, and that's the reason why I'm quoting this article. So explain to your children that when a sentence begins with you, it might make matters worse. Instead, teach your kids to start sentences with I and explain how they are feeling. If your child expresses that he or she feels jealousy, then try to find out more. All right, guys, that was it. Today was jealousy, and jealousy is such a huge, a huge thing in anywhere, in business, and in families, and I just thought that was an interesting article. So thanks to wikihow.com. All right. Let's move on to today's conversation. All right, it's part 2 with Sarantos. And I hope you guys joined us last week. Actually joined us from the first part we did, because he's a really, really cool dude, and you can learn a lot from. You're gonna learn a lot from this conversation. All right, so. For many of you, for some of you who don't know, maybe you're joining us just now and you don't know who Sarantos is. Well, I'm going to tell you who he is. His passion for music began before he knew what the word passion meant. He began writing lyrics as a small child while people watching in his mom and pop's family dinner. That is to say, when he was not working and helping his mom and pop at the dinner as a cook, dishwasher, waiter, or cashier. In those days, he always had a pad of paper, loose leaf sheet, or even a napkin to feverishly write down lyrics. As technology evolved, his iPhone, iPad, and computer have gladly become the recipients of those lyrics. Do you have any idea how long it took to digitize all those songs? Sarantos' love of music is profound. I mean, his lyrics express his love of people and the world around him. While life is fraught with many challenges, it also offers many blessings. His songs span an entire spectrum of emotion. Unless he takes himself too seriously, Sarantos has a pretty wicked sense of humor. You may recognize this in some of his more lighthearted lyrics, Facebook or Twitter posts, and in Sarantos' second CD, Close Your Eyes. Sarantos' unique sound has been described by industry insiders as an emotionally powerful vocal style, masterfully united with music that is a fusion of classic 80s rock, blended with modern soft rock and pop music. All right, hey, this week, in this part 2, we are diving into a bunch of cool stuff. I love these subjects. First of all, we talk about the creative process. Yeah, a lot of us, a lot of artists, they hear music in their head, or they see the story in their head. They see the painting in their head, and it's natural for them. And we're gonna ask him, what is his creative process? It's such a mysterious thing, the creative process. So I always like to ask artists this question. We also dive into fears. Oh yeah, the fears of failure, fears of rejection, fear of lack of money, and we also talk about the purists versus the commercial guys, right? There's kind of this unsaid rivalry between the guys who consider themselves the real ones, the purists, and those who sold out. They said that the commercial people who make millions of dollars have sold out. They sold their soul for money. And so we dive into that. Again, this guy is just a cool guy. He almost has 1 million Twitter followers. Isn't that cool? And the guy has been doing it for 3 years. And I know you're going to fall in love with him. You're going to fall in love with his music. And if you check out my website, fredericbai.com, you're going to have an exclusive, you have a St. Valentine's Day song. So it's a love song, and you might be listening to this and it's not St. Valentine, but it's an awesome song anyway. So we're going to get there. We're going to get to the conversation right after this. Hey guys, quick thanks to radioguestlist.com, where you can find people to interview for free. Or if you want to be interviewed, you can go there too. radioguestlist.com. Thank you guys for your support. And speaking of you listeners, I want to hear from you. If you would like to be on this show to discuss a book you have written or that you loved, if you have a book recommendation, or you just want to chat, email me. I want to hear from you at info@fredericbai.com. That's info@fredericbai.com. And for advertisement offers, use the same address with subject advertising. Do you have any mentors? It can be somebody who's famous that you never met, or somebody close to you.
My biggest mentor is my dad. And even though my dad wasn't a musician, he owned a restaurant, he worked like a dog, he really instilled in me the beliefs that I have and the hard work, the work ethic. And I think whatever I've done in my life, I've never been scared of work. And in anything I've done, I've always outworked everybody. And I like to believe I'm going to do the same thing in music. And that's really what I think makes me tick.
Yeah. Do you think, in the music business, do you think it's the most talented who succeed, or those who work harder, but they're not as talented?
I think the people that succeed, music is a little different because we all know connections matter, in music and in Hollywood. We all know labels matter. If there's a big marketing budget, how many times have we heard a song that we didn't really like, but they kept playing it over and over, and eventually we loved it? Mm-hmm. I think marketing dollars matter a lot. So I think there's plenty of people that are super talented that never come close to making it for many different reasons. And I also think that a lot of people that are up there might have a lot more business knowledge and marketing savvy than actual skill vocally. And it's hard now because, Frederick, most of the top artists don't write their own lyrics. They don't write their own music. They have producers. Some of them have, if they have 15 songs on a CD, they have 15 different producers, which is crazy. So again, it's not really them, even though they claim it is.
All right. In all arts, there's always that fight between the commercial artists and the purists. It's almost like, from the purist point of view, the commercial guy sold out for money.
Sure.
They're not doing what they're doing from the heart. And the commercial people, they kind of, sometimes some of them feel guilty for,
Yeah.
They feel the critics from the purists. How do you deal with that?
I guess I haven't been successful enough to the point where that's been an issue for me because, like I said, I'm still giving away everything for free. My music is definitely not profitable. My musical career, I'm spending a lot more than I'm bringing in. And what I hope happens at one point, if I break even and then make a profit, again, my agenda is, I'm giving away a third of profits to charity, and I pick a different charity every month. So that's my way of giving back. And when I first started deciding what am I going to stand for, what am I going to do, I wanted to give away 100%. And a couple people that I met in the music industry and were like, you're crazy. There's no way, because even if you're not with a label that takes 90%, you need money to market this. You need money. So eventually they kind of realistically taught me into 33%, which I think is great. But the flip side to that is, do I see myself being with a label? No. Do I see myself donating to charity for the rest of my life? Yes. But at some point, there is going to be a clash, because if all of a sudden I make $10 million in a year or $50 million from touring, there's always going to be people that are going to say, oh, he donated $10 million to charity. He probably made billions. There's always a disconnect between reality and what people think. And when you look at the numbers, again, people aren't buying 20 million CDs anymore. And streaming doesn't generate a lot of money for the writer or for the musician. So there's always a disconnect between what people think you make and what you actually make. They don't understand the cost to make things, the cost to get an airline ticket, to fly somewhere, to do a concert. And I'm comfortable with that, because I think at some point, hopefully, I make something, I give to charity, whatever I end up, quote unquote, pocketing. Again, I'm not going to sell my soul. I'm not going to sit and pretend that my dad died of lung cancer. You're never going to see me endorsing a cigarette. That's just how it is. I can't tell you I'm never going to endorse a certain T-shirt but it's going to be in a pretty ethical way, I believe. I'm not going to sit and pitch a product I don't believe in. I see both sides of it. I think you can be true to your art, but nowadays, tours, Taylor Swift, her tour was sponsored, by American Express, her video was, and I think you have to learn to live with that, because it's just the reality of the situation nowadays. You're never going to have the Bob Dylans or the people that never interacted with someone on some level. You have to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's just not any money in music anymore by yourself. You have to partner with someone on your tour, on your something, merchandise, something. It just won't happen any other way nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Once again, we're here with Sarantos. He's a singer, musician. He's described as an emotionally powerful vocal style, masterfully united with a fusion of classic 80s rock and modern music. All right, let's dive into the fears. The creative life is filled with fear. It's a fear-driven world. Not just creative life, life in general. Corporate life too is fear-driven, and it just seems to me that there are many three main fears. It seems maybe you'll say some, maybe you'll say different, but first fear is lack of money. I'll never make money. And the second fear is rejection, and the third one is failure. Let's start off with the first one. Lack of money. How do you deal with that? The fear of it.
Yeah, I think as you get older, I think when you're 18 and you're trying to make it in the music business, you definitely have that fear. I think as you get older, I've gotten to a place in my life where if I never made a penny for my music, I'm okay with that. And I wasn't okay with it, a year ago. I wasn't okay with it throughout my journey. But at this point, I'm okay with that. And that, again, is very liberating, because when you let go of that, when you stop chasing that, and not that I ever really did musically, you can really be true to yourself. And again, that I recommend for everybody, and it's a process. I think the people that truly make it, really, it's such a cliche to say, oh, I don't care about the money. But most musicians and rock stars and people trying to do it do. And I think mistakenly a lot of them believe they're going to be billionaires, and the numbers just aren't there. They're really not. So that's how I would answer that.
Which singer is a billionaire? Thinking about it, I don't know. There are many successful singers. And Eminem, okay, he's huge, but
Yeah, not close. Yeah, even Taylor Swift, and you look at someone like Jay-Z, and he owns a label now, and a lot of the clothing stuff he's doing, and same thing with Kanye. It's not because of their music. So exactly. I think what I see ends up happening, which, people might make it, they might get a hit song or two, and then they decide they want to go to Hollywood, or then they decide they want to own a label. And then it's almost like, oh, I don't want to just do that. That's beneath me anymore. To me, I don't care if I become a famous movie star. I don't care if I have, 10 hit albums. I want to make music. I'm not saying I'm never going to try to do other things if I'm approached to do them, but I'm never going to give this up. Look at Hollywood's a great example. People are famous actors, and then they want to be producers or directors, and it's almost like they don't want to be actors anymore. I'm always, this is my passion. And any other thing I do, I have no problem doing it, but I'm never going to stop putting out new songs. I promise my fans that. That's never going to happen.
That's awesome. See, that's always interesting, because I don't know, I feel it's like this in the writing world too. And I don't know, where you can't just be a writer. Like, if financially speaking, if you really want to make it financially, it just seems to me that you have to do a bunch of other things, aside from your art.
Yeah.
Like you said, Jay-Z, built his label, and, you kind of have to invest somewhere else, it seems.
Yeah. And that, and I get that. And that's the whole business side of it. But to me, I think that's a shame, because if you have someone that's a great guitarist, why, I understand the flip side where he's like, I don't want to waste time on social media. I don't want to waste time on this. I just want to do this. In the old days, you had session musicians, and you had people that all they did was write lyrics, and they were with publishers. And, nowadays, it's just, to make it in anything, you have to be well-rounded. You have to have a business sense. And, that business mentality, you got to be a little heartless and cruel. And I don't want to do that. And most artists don't want to do that. Yeah. If you paint something, you don't want to, I understand the business side, and the people that make it have to know that side, but I get that they don't want to. Yeah. It's exhausting. I don't want to sit and negotiate with someone about, hey, you want to use my song for a movie? Again, I've told people they can use my music for free in movies, but wow. The people that make it, they're like, oh no, I want, $100,000 up front, or that's got to be exhausting. And to have a chain of managers and publicists and PR and marketing people that do all that for you, that changes the whole name of the game and the label, because then, if you bring in $100 million in a year from touring and from all this stuff, you're only left with what, $5 million for all that work?
Really?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. The label, first of all, takes the majority of everything, but then if your manager gets 10 or 20%, then you have your, it gets really, really complicated. And I read I've read some great books on this, inside attorneys that deal with all these things, and people just don't get it. They don't realize that. They think you have a hit song, you're set. If you have a hit song, you might basically be able to pay off your debt and be able to say, okay, on the next hit song, I'll actually make some money. It's crazy.
Wow. All right. Rejection. It's like dating. It sucks to be rejected or being met with indifference. How do you deal with rejection?
I was, in high school, I was a nerd, and I wasn't one of the popular kids. So I learned to deal with rejection at a very early age, and I think it made me stronger. Because again, and the first time you ask a girl out or you're nervous, they say yes, they say no. Whether you look at the dating scene, whether you look at business, whether you look at it really it's really something. You just got to get thick skin. And I think some people musically are like, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Their critic criticized my lyrics or my vocals. To me, I might have been annoyed initially because, like I said, you're like, oh, this song is my first song. It's going to rock the world. And it doesn't. But I really then became self-critical and said, okay, what can I do better? When the reviews said this, this rated in the 70th percentile, why? And it took me a year and a half to figure out what they were all talking about. I was trying to figure out what they meant and what I could do better. But one of the best things I did, which I recommend, is I went to the Taxi Music Conference a couple months ago. It was the first music conference I went to. And when you talk to these industry-leading people and you talk to other musicians that are in the same boat as you, but I really took the time to listen to what they were talking about in some of the classes about my lyrics, or not specifically about mine, just in general, and about vocals and about the music part of it. And I think a lot of people, it falls on deaf ears because they're like, oh, they don't get me. So artists, if you're painting or making a song, the response is, the world doesn't get me, and I'm going to do what's true to myself. This is a song I wrote about pain, about a breakup, and they're not, the flip side is they're like, if I make it exactly, like the radio hit, I'm not true to my roots. There's a mixture there that I think once you figure out becomes your style, where you can do things in the correct format, in the correct rhyme scheme, with structure, where you're not discombobulated and your song's not all over the place. So there's a way you could do both. And I think that's an art that I wish I figured this out 3 years ago, because I think moving forward, it's going to make a tremendous difference. And you got to be receptive to it. If you're not receptive to it and you think you know what you're doing, you're never going to get to that next level. And if you do, it'll be by luck and coincidence, and you won't know how to replicate it. You won't know how to do it again and again.
What about failure? We all fail in life at certain things, whether it's our relationships, whether it's business, or whether it's music or art or writing or whatever. Some people, some people are really, really scared of failure, so they never even take the first step. What would you tell them, and how do you deal with that?
I would tell them that, I've been there, and I understand never taking the first step, or you never even try singing, because then no one's going to tell you that your voice is terrible. And I've been there, and I've done it, and all I can tell you is, first, I think everyone deserves to be happy, so you should try it, whatever it is you want to do. Secondly is, you're never going to know. After my dad passed away, I realized, my dad didn't have regrets, but he worked like a dog, and everything he did was for us, for me and my sister. So I didn't want to get to my deathbed and be like, I never tried this music thing. As a kid, I always loved singing. I wrote lyrics forever, but I never really tried it. And I don't care if you're 10, 30, 50, 80. If you want to learn to play the piano, if you want to make a song, why can't you? Mm-hmm. And you can do it for pleasure and for yourself, or you can take it seriously and try to keep getting better at it to release it professionally. And who cares? Do it. Why not? Who cares if you fail? I tell people this all the time. I've failed more times than anyone I know. And all I can do is get up. And sometimes I didn't even want to get back up, or sometimes it took me a long time to get back up. But you need to do it, because otherwise it's going to come back at some point and you're going to regret it.
All right, just before continuing this conversation, for you, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend the audiobook The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, or you can choose the audiobook of your choice for free by trying audible.com. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Fred. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Fred. You will be entertained, and at the same time, you will help a brother out. So everybody wins. Go to audibletrial.com/Fred for your free audiobook. What do you do when you're blocked and nothing comes to you?
So when I look at some of these, when I read some of these books about lyrics, people talk about being blocked. And, people say, hey, just forget it, go off, do something else. The other school of thought is write something every day. Try to write 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. I'm probably one of these weird people because I've never been blocked because I've never had a deadline. And what I mean by that is I guess I have deadlines now with the book chapters I write and some of the other stuff, but I've never put the pressure on myself to say I have to make this hit song and I have to write it in a minute. So usually at this point, I have so much material that I kind of sort through and say, hey, this is a cool title and this is a cool thing, and I modify it to what I've learned, or I just write something from scratch, but I don't have someone pushing me. Because again, if I was with a label, what do people do? They write 10 songs, they submit them, they say, these are all terrible except this one. Give me another 10. And that's a lot of pressure to keep coming up with ideas like that. To me, I have so much material, and if I write a song, again, there's no pressure to it. If I decide, hey, you know what? One of the songs coming out this year is a dance pop song. The other one is like more, not heavy metal, but, hard rock kind of song. Did you cheat? And a lot of artists, they put out the same sounding things over and over that their label wants them to, or they have an image. They want to appeal to teenagers that are 12 to 16, or they want to appeal to middle-aged men. I don't look at it like that. I have demographics that follow me, but they're different on each song. One song might appeal to 30 to 50-year-olds. The other might appeal to 15-year-old girls. So I can do what I want because I don't have that pressure. So I've never really been blocked because I've never had a deadline where someone says, write me a love song about Valentine's Day and get it to me tomorrow. And then when I hand it to them, they say, this is terrible. Write me 10 more. I've never had that. So I think that's a big reason why I've never been blocked.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to someone who fears she or he is not creative or a creative person?
Again, I do believe that some people are just creative, and you can be creative in many, many different ways. I believe some people, when you look at the accounting type personality, they love numbers, they love Excel spreadsheets, where some people would find those extremely boring. I do think your personality type is different, and I think some people might not be quote unquote creative, but there is creativity in all of us. And even if you're a regimented, if you're in the military or if you're an accountant or whatever your field is, you're creative in some way, and it's a matter of, are you allowed to express it, or are you allowing yourself to express it? Because again, everyone's in different environments. If you're the CFO for a Fortune 500 company, maybe you're creative on the weekend when you paint, but in the boardroom, you're not allowed to be creative. And everyone's got a different story. And I think at heart, everyone's creative to some extent, but some of us admit it more than others.
As creative, we often want to transmit a message with our work. What is your message?
I think my message, we talked about earlier, I just want everyone, I want to get my music out to the world. I want people to listen to it. I want them to share it and replay it over and over, and I hope it touches them. In terms of my overall message, again, I want to donate as much as I can to charity. I want to do this forever, and I want fans to know I'm not going to abandon them. I'm going to release a new song, video, and book chapter every month till the day I die, because how many bands have we fallen in love with, and they put out a CD every 2-3 years, they'll put out a couple, then they'll break up, and you never hear from them except maybe years later when they get back together because they've all gone bankrupt and they don't have money. I'm going to do this because I love it. If I get up on stage, I'm not going to go on a tour for a year and a half nonstop because of the machine. I have no problem doing a concert somewhere that I'm invited, knowing that it's sold out, knowing that it's a smaller venue, medium venue, whatever it is, and not doing another concert for a month. I'm okay with that. I want to go where people want to hear me, and I'm not going to be regimented like that. I'm not going to cheapen it. It's going to be authentic. When I'm up there singing, it's not going to be like my 10th concert, out of 11 nights, and I'm just like, don't want to be up there.
In your opinion, what is the link between creativity and spirituality?
I think there is a link, and again, I'm Christian, I'm Greek Orthodox, and I do believe in God, and I don't fault people that don't. I don't try to shove my religion down anyone's throat. I think we can all be unique and different. And again, if some people pray to Buddha or to, different gods, I think a lot of people think they're all the same and we're just calling them a different name. And again, I'm not here to debate that, and everyone can have their own opinion, but whether you're an atheist, whether you're Christian, Muslim, whatever your persuasion, I think, when I think of music, I think of, the universe's origins. I think of there's a harmony, a melody inside of us, inside ourselves, inside our souls. And I think there is a link to them. And I can't tell you exactly what it is for everyone. I can tell you for me that, again, I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I write because I'm happy. I'm not always happy. And we all have our moments of despair. And again, it's a journey. And nobody's come back from the dead except, of course, Jesus to tell us is there an afterlife? Is it real? Is it not real? But, each person will figure that out, I think, on their own.
Once again, we're here with Sarantos. He's a singer, musician. He is described as an emotionally powerful vocal style, masterfully united with a fusion of classic 80s rock and modern music. We got a few minutes left. How do you deal with uncertainty? When sometimes you don't know what's gonna happen. It's not like you go to a job every day, routine, and you know what's gonna happen, and the routine, blah blah blah. Now you don't know what's gonna happen. How do you deal with uncertainty?
I think when I was younger, you really don't care. You just think, hey, it'll be like this forever, and you don't really question uncertainty. I think as you get older, you're successful, you're not. You're successful, then you fall off the top, and you got to climb back up that mountain. Some people quit and do different careers, and I think that's really when you start being scared by uncertainty and not knowing how you're going to pay your bills, living day to day, week to week, not knowing if your spouse is going to stay with you, not knowing if you're going to have kids, are they going to be healthy, are they going to find someone to be happy with. I think there's definitely uncertainties that we all face. And I can tell you that, do they stress me out? Am I fearful of them? Absolutely. Have I done a better job as I've gotten older of not letting that burden my mind 24/7? I think I have. And for me, I think music has been the biggest part of that because I'm so focused on my music and making good music and writing good lyrics that to me, it has made me very fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And since I've been fulfilled, I feel like less fear at that uncertainty. And I just feel like, hey, you know what? What's going to happen is going to happen. I just do the best I can. And I truly believe that everything will work out because, again, I don't feel pressured anymore.
Have you ever made any contact with major artists or other high-positioned people in the music industry? And do you keep in contact with them?
I really haven't. I can't say that I've met anyone that I consider super famous, like, Bruno Mars, Justin Timberlake, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry. I'd love to. Obviously, I'd love to do a duet, do backup vocals, or with anybody, or use anybody's, backup vocals in my songs. And what I really hope happens is I hope as I continue getting bigger that I'll do a lot more collaborations because I feel like I'm a cool, down-to-earth guy, and I'd love to just build these kind of relationships that are not fake. And I have had people email me, and I'm like, sure, you can be in my music video. And I think it would be really cool as this grows that I can do what I want in my music videos and have a better story and have better equipment and make better shots. And I'd love nothing more than to have famous people in my music and my videos because, again, not really for exposure, but just to me, it'll be fun. I'd love to work with these people. They're creative. They're successful. They've gotten there. They can teach me something. And it would be great to be part of that journey as well as undiscovered talent. Maybe I'm going to work with someone that in 5 years will be the biggest name on the planet. That's a great, that's a wonderful opportunity. And you just never know where the road will go.
What one tip would you give to other aspiring independent artists?
I think the one tip I would give them is never give up. I think people don't work hard enough to get what they want, and then sometimes they give up right before their big break would have happened.
Yeah.
And I really believe that if your head is screwed on right and you don't think you're going to be a billionaire and you're doing it for the right reasons, it'll happen. And if it doesn't happen, so what? If it makes you happy, if it makes you feel whole, that's really all that I can ask of my music.
Do you feel like the internet is helping you as an independent artist?
I do, Frederick. I think the internet is a double-edged sword. I think it helped people like Justin Bieber with YouTube, and it got him a great following that he's still living off of and doing very well with. I think at this point, the double-edged sword is for artists like me, it takes a lot of money. And it's not like it used to be. Everybody pays for everything. I'm not going to name artists, but, when half of a major artist's Twitter and Facebook fans are fake, that just puts more pressure on everyone else to be like, oh, wow, I'm a failure. I don't have 50 million likes on Facebook. And same thing with your posts. I got caught up in that. I thought, oh, let me spend some money on marketing here or there on Facebook. And I just realized, you know what? I don't care if only one person comments on this or likes it. It's real. And I've really backed off on that because I think you can drive yourself crazy chasing that. And at the end of the day, I think the internet's great. I think it gives the potential to go viral and do things that you wouldn't have otherwise. Mm-hmm. Where in the world would someone like me in Chicago be able to interact with people all over the world? There's no way it would happen without the internet. So I cherish that, and I just focus on that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Where can we hear your music online?
It's I'm pretty much everywhere, but the main website I have is melogia.com, which is www.melogia.com. They can sign up for my email list. They'll get all the inside information. They can download all the songs for free, and there's links to everything. I'm on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. I'm basically anywhere they can imagine, Instagram, or they could just Google search my name, Sarantos, on any platform they want, and they'll find me on Apple Music or Spotify or Deezer or whatever they want. And I thank you for your time. I hope they enjoyed the show, and I want them to come on this journey with me.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, one last question. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Time. In my dreams, I see myself having made it. I see myself being a huge superstar that stayed true to his vision and is still releasing a new song and video and book chapter every month. I see my fan base growing. I see me donating a lot of money to charity and being happy. And again, I see myself being open to ideas to do collaborations with people on music, on videos, on movies, on TV films. And again, I hope to grow old with people. I don't want to abandon them. I don't want them to feel like I'm going to stop putting out music because I have like 10 Grammys and I just think I'm, hot shit. I mean, I'm never going to do that. I'm always going to keep trying to get better and growing. And that's my dream. Awesome. Hey, Sarantos, man, I really felt you said you were down to earth. I think you really are. I really feel that in your voice, how you speak and all that. So, man, it was very cool. Thank you very much for doing this. I'm honored, really. Thank you very much.
No, Frederick, I'm honored. Thank you for having me, and I'd be happy to be on any time, and I'll send you the new song each month, and I'd be happy to anything you need. I mean, let me know.
Hey, cool, man. All right, guys. All right. Hey, thank you so much, Sarantos. That was so cool. I just love to talk to people like you. I just love to talk to people, who have ambition, people who are doing their thing, people who are, they don't take the excuse route. Let's put it that way, right? All right. As for us, hey, by the way, I just want to say much success to you, Sarantos. That was a cool conversation. Thank you so much. As for us right now, it's time to ride off into the sunset. Oh, yeah. So what you're going to do now, you're going to frederickbuy.com. That's Frederick with a C. Buy is like bye-bye.com. And you're going to join our creatives community. And the reason you're going to join our creatives community is you're going to get, first of all, a free audio of an inspirational conversation I had with author J.F. Dubois. He's telling us his transition from graphic designer to author. And I know many of you out there are in the same type of position. You're in a job, 9 to 5, you're not fulfilled, or you're doing your thing, but there's something missing. This conversation will lift you up. It will lift you up. You will be lifted up. All right. So go now, frederickbuy.com. You're also going to get cool Q&As, any giveaways too. I will do that. That's for sure. And I want to leave you with this quote, Paul. It goes like this: work hard in silence. Let your success be your noise. Stay safe, and don't forget, live with purpose, passion, and love. Bye-bye.